Hey, you're mic'd up.
I'm mic'd up. Hey, I'm mic'd up. Hey guys, it's Ron Bass with another edition of the Ron Bass Show. It's your source for inspiration, encouragement, motivation, humor, dry humor. Mr. Brent Atterbury.
Hello there, sir.
Hello there.
I'm glad I got to be with you today.
I appreciate that compliment.
Just a little late, but because of the train.
Oh,
The train was going by, so I missed someone hitting their goal. So
Oh.
I'm sorry I missed it, but it was a little train, so maybe it was a little goal. I don't know.
So
I don't know how that all
what
works.
he's referring to is every time we hear the train come by, which is close to our office,
Yeah.
it means that somebody hit their goal.
Yeah.
Because the horn is really loud.
Yeah.
So on some current news, just because I've been thinking about it.
Current news?
Yeah.
Are you stealing my thunder?
Yeah, a little bit, sort of. The
this anything like breaking?
The P. Diddy trial, I think
Oh.
it's pretty fascinating.
I don't know what's happening with
Well,
that.
what's happening is that he was acquitted on 3 of the major counts, and he's prosecuted. He was found guilty on 2 counts. Transportation, I think, across state lines, I think 2 counts. At any rate, smaller counts compared to the RICO, the racketeering charge, and there were 3 big counts, and they acquitted him of those. So he's feeling pretty good about himself. And right now, they're going to go in front of the judge and try to convince the judge to let him be out on bond, and then maybe he gets home confinement. We'll see. I thought it pretty interesting, but here's the deal. Here's what I was thinking about: win, lose, or draw. Like it, don't like the verdict. I get it. Two different opinions. But here, if I were the judge, what I would do is I would put him in. I would like the way I would finish it up would be like, look, man, you've got all this wealth, so here's going to be your punishment. You're going to have to be like gazillions of hours of mentorship to help people that are less fortunate, to share your bad experiences and your good, and then a percentage of your wealth has to go to a variety of different charities or organizations that really need the support. And I think that's a lot better idea in my mind than sticking somebody in a hole for 10 years or 5 years, where you can take advantage of this guy's knowledge, his wealth, because he's obviously got a lot of experience in business, or he wouldn't be a billionaire, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what I would do if I were the judge.
Wow. So they haven't said what the sentencing.
Well, the sentencing
is probably going to be
is coming up maybe a month or 2 from now.
Oh.
It's never like right away.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When the jury comes out and says, okay, we the jury find him not guilty of these counts, but we find him guilty of these.
And what
counts.
was he guilty of? I can't remember.
He was guilty of interstate prostitution, where he would bring people across state lines for his pleasure, and it's called the Mann Act, which is, it's not good, obviously. The guy's got a lot of problems, obviously, but the bigger charges was like racketeering, criminal enterprising, like a mobster type thing.
Yeah.
And they didn't find him guilty of that. So from a defense point of view, it's a big win. And a couple thoughts about this. One, if he gets out on bond, that would be another win, obviously. And then 2, he could probably appeal those charges if he stays out on bond. Maybe he could continue to stay out on bond. That would be a win for the defense. And then 3, there's a chance that he could be pardoned by President Trump, because they have a long history. So I thought that's all kind of an interesting thing going on there with Diddy, because back in the day, he was really pioneered rap music, one of the big pioneers. Which I've had a lot of experience in the rap music business because I'm in the entertainment business.
Yes.
At least I have been. I kind of put it to the side for now. But at one time I had 15 artists in my entourage that we were developing and mentoring and promoting and developing. Mm-hmm. And as you know the story, my producer moved to another state, and then all the artists left. It was like a Mutiny on the Bounty. They just I came in one day and nobody was here. And that reminded me of many years ago, and I'm going to make a point about all this. Many years ago in my home repair business, I came in one morning and all my trucks were parked in front of my building. And we had 2-way radios back then. And I went from truck to truck, and all the 2-way radios were sitting in the seats. It's like 10 trucks. And there was basically what happened was they all left without noticing me and formed their own company. There was the gang leader, and he started his own company, called it Service Today, which was taken out of one of my advertisements. I used to advertise service today by same day service. So he took it out of one of my ads, started his own company. This is like 30 years ago, and he's still in business. But the idea was they did it without telling me. I walked in my office, there's like nobody there. Even the secretary had left. They all went together and formed their own company. So I had to do a lot of soul searching that day. Like, what am I going to do? But that's the point I'm trying to make, guys. Look, you never give up. You find a way to move on. You reinvent yourself. I've done this countless times. And you get to where finally, I think, with the course of time, to where it doesn't bother you as much as it maybe did in the beginning. And it's because you learn to desensitize yourself to uncomfortableness and struggle. And I get it, guys. It's not comfortable to quit smoking. That's a whole other subject, by the way. I've got a good friend of mine right now that's trying to quit smoking. He said he couldn't do it. He started smoking and he went to vaping. I just read an article how they say now that vaping is even worse than cigarettes.
Oh.
Yeah, it's bringing on heart disease. It's bringing on this disease and that problem and this problem. I mean, common sense should tell you, if you're putting stuff in your lungs, which is a very sensitive, I guess it's an organ.
It is an organ. Yeah.
Organ. I mean, how healthy can it be? And you're coughing all the time, and you're short of breath all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, shouldn't it be kind of obvious that it's probably not a good idea? But people do it anyway. You know why they do it? Because nicotine is, they say, as addictive as heroin. So when you have a physical addiction, when the brain says, hey, man, I like this, and then you try to eliminate it, the brain says, I'm not going to let this go. I want more. And I don't care if you want to not give it to me. I'm going to force you to give it to me by making you feel really bad. And that's kind of the way it works, guys. That's addiction, man. It's brain chemistry. I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but if you kind of boil it all down, I think you get the idea. So, vaping, marijuana. Now they say marijuana is even worse than cigarettes. It used to be like, oh yeah, it's real good for you. It makes you feel good, and I get it. There's some things that they say it's really good for, like I think something to do with the glaucoma, perhaps, or maybe if you have like mental health issues where you're like really depressed. But here's a current example where it didn't work out. I've got a good friend of mine that took a girl out on a date, and he bought her some marijuana, and as soon as she started smoking it, she went nuts. They had to call 911. They had to call an ambulance. She had a bad reaction to it. So it's not like every single time, people smoke pot, they're going to feel good. As a matter of fact, when I was 16 years old, I smoked some pot. I had a bad reaction to it. Like, I got real paranoid, and I got real psychotic for a while there, and I never will forget that. So I never smoked it again. But, I mean, to each their own. I get it, it's legal, but that doesn't mean that it's good for you.
Right.
Cigarettes are legal. Alcohol's legal. Does it mean it's good for you?
Doesn't mean that.
No. I would rather laugh than cry, guys, but I mean, in all seriousness, look, you got one body, you got one time to live. Why not at least try to follow some of the basic rules? We talk about exercise. We talk about not smoking, not drinking, not taking drugs, not being around bad people. I had to eliminate some more people this last few weeks that they're just not good people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any control over somebody else. And if you think you're going to convince your partner or your husband or your wife or your kid or your best friend to not do this or not do that, you're kidding yourself. It's not going to happen, man. People are going to do what the heck they're going to do. It doesn't matter what you want. That's where I came up with the saying, you can't push a rope. It's just the way it is, man. Focus on your own personal development. Focus on your personal success. Focus on improving your life. Psychologically, financially, personally, physically, every which way. Because if you're doing better, people around you are going to at least have some influence that's positive, and you never know who that one person is that you might change their life, right? The old Jewish saying, to help one person is as if to have helped the whole world. To save one person's life is as if to have saved the whole world. That's powerful, powerful stuff, man. And a lot of people look at me and go, "Oh yeah, whatever." But if you really think about it, that's really what it's all about, man. Is influencing others. If you've gone through the mill, so to speak, if you've gone through a lot of hell to get your life straightened out, which I had to go through this process of figuring things out. You know what? You at least can share that with others and hope that maybe they don't have to go through as much hell to get to where they want to get to in life. Are some people lucky and they don't have to go through a lot? Yeah, but it's not that many. I mean, the average person that becomes successful goes through a lot of trials and tribulations, a lot more failures than successes. So if you're listening out there and you're going through some struggle, which everybody's probably going through something, don't fret, stay the course, don't give up, keep swinging the axe is another old saying, and sooner or later you're going to see some improvement. I don't know when. It may take years, it may just be days, maybe months. Maybe there's a whole lot of things going on in your life that you have to deal with, and maybe some things are going to improve quicker. Some things may take a long time. It doesn't matter. The other day I posted something on Facebook. I said, I was at the gym and I said, "Hey, what do you think's better, the journey or the destination?" And one of the gym members posted, "Hey, can I answer that?" And I said, "Sure." She said, "I think it's the journey." And I said, "I agree with you wholeheartedly." There is really no destination in life. You're always on the track, so to speak, trying to get somewhere further down the line. Even if you arrive at some place, it doesn't mean that's the end of that journey. It may just be like a milestone, right? Last night, one of my students got his blue belt, which is a wonderful accomplishment in martial arts in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community.
Tell people how long that typically takes.
It took
to
him
get
2 years, and that's
Wow.
training like probably several thousand hours. I mean, it's like not easy, and you got to really do the grind, and you got to go through a lot of heck to get there. So it's a powerful accomplishment. Only 1 out of 10 students ever get there. Maybe 1 out of 20.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe only 1 out of 100 now that I think about the numbers. Not very many people get there. I think it's 1 out of 100. 10 out of 100. 10%. So 1 out of 10. And most people don't even go further than that because you've got purple, brown, and black belt after that. But, it's just like anything. If you don't quit, if you stay the course, if you don't give up, sooner or later you're probably going to get where you want to get to. And if you don't get there, at least you're going to get at least further down the line. Right? If you don't give up, the key is not to give up, not to ever quit. Don't quit. Don't give up. Don't quit. No matter how bad it is. So back to the smoking thing. So my friend said, "Oh, I just can't quit." Man, I remember when I quit smoking, it was hell. And I don't tell people, "Hey, it's just going to be really easy." No, you're going to go through some stuff, man. But guess what? I quit. I haven't smoked in 40 years. A long time.
Good for you.
Yeah. And I haven't done drugs in probably 30 years. Well, I'm not saying it to brag. I'm saying it to suggest that, at my age, I probably wouldn't be in the shape that I'm in if I would have continued to smoke and drink and do drugs. I wouldn't be ambitious today. I wouldn't be interested in trying to create more success for myself and my friends and my family and my students, et cetera, et cetera. So, all right, so much for that. Let's go to the next subject.
Next subject.
Yeah, the next subject. I get a little bit wound up sometimes, sorry, but that's just kind of the way my brain works. Okay, so I read this really cool a story on TikTok. This guy was talking about he was really discouraged one day about his business. And he was about ready to give up, and his father called him. And he said, "Son, you thinking about giving up, huh?" He said, "Yep." He goes, "Well, hey, do me a favor. This is what I did." He said, "I've been sober for a long time." But he said, "I take it just one day at a time." And I know you've probably heard this kind of a scenario before. "So I can't tell you if I'm going to be sober tomorrow, but I can tell you I'm going to be sober today." So take that same philosophy and apply it to your attitude about yourself towards your goals and your business. Just stick it out for one more day. And then tomorrow you can deal with it again. So when you're goal searching and you're moving forward in your goals and your ambitions, just take it a day at a time, man. Don't get too wound up about the future, because it's tough enough just to get through each day. sometimes at the end of the day, man, I'm just exhausted. And the older I get, the more I feel that. It gets harder and harder to recover. But I do recover, and I go back into the same mindset of, hey, I'm going to accomplish these goals today. And whenever I reach a goal, I just do a check mark. I keep a list. And you'd be surprised how that list keeps getting shorter and shorter. And then I'll make a new list because I don't want to just say, hey, I got these goals accomplished. I want to make another new list of new goals. And that's the journey we're talking about. Yeah, that's never ending. So just look, guys, just quit smoking one more day, just today. Just quit staying off drugs today. Don't worry about tomorrow. Just stay with your business goals and your concepts today. Don't worry about tomorrow. Just give it today and stay with it. Don't give up. I just thought that was pretty cool. And so the guy didn't give up, and he went on to become extraordinarily successful. That's the moral of that story. And the dad continued to stay sober. So here was another example of somebody passing down a concept, and the person accepted the idea and was able to benefit from it.
That's great.
Is it easy? Heck no, it's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy, man. Look, I told somebody last night, I said, he did a tournament, one of my students, and he won gold over the weekend. And I said, and he said, you know what, I went in there sober this time. And I thought, wow. Usually a lot of these guys will smoke pot before they do these tournaments. And he said, you know, I was so focused. I said, yeah, you know, it's not that complicated, man. If you're sober and you've been going to the gym every day like you've been doing, and your cardio is really good, and you're super focused, guess what the outcome's more likely to be? It's not that complicated, guys. People make it and I said, why do you think people are smoking pot every day and drinking every day and doing drugs every day? Because they're masking something that doesn't feel good. Either they don't like something about themselves, they don't like circumstances, they're not happy. You have to get to the root cause. You can't just mask the pain. That's all we're doing when we're smoking. Now look, if you want to smoke pot once in a while, if you want to drink once in a while, okay, I can see that. But every day, no. That's just telling you that you got a serious problem and you need to figure it out and solve the problem. I don't care what it is. There again, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but okay, I'm going to tell one more story, then we're going to get to
Before you do that,
breaking news. Huh?
Before you do that,
yes.
You mic down. You need to mic up.
Oh,
it fell down. I don't know how it did.
Wow.
Yeah, you got so excited. I think you just flung the mic off.
Happened? Okay. My bad.
Hope everybody heard you.
Or maybe not.
I tried to be quiet.
Okay, thank you. So this is a Chuck Norris story. It's a cool story.
Woo, yeah. Chuck.
He's 85, 86 now. He still works out every day. You know, back in the day, this guy was like the guy, right? He was the karate star. Mm-hmm. He was the movie star, TV star. Still works out every day. Still super fit, super healthy at his age. But he was telling the story, the very first tournament he ever went to when he was really young, he took some of his students with him, or some of his people that he was training with. They drove 16 hours to get to this tournament, karate tournament. And I can relate to that because I've flown. It would have taken 16 hours, but I got there in maybe 4 in a plane. Any rate, he gets there and he loses. Man, he's like, wow, because he thought he was really, really good. So he's driving all the way back, and he's thinking about it, and he gets back, and he thinks to himself, you know what? And here's what he said to himself. You never really lose because you always learn something. You may not have got the title, you may not have got the medal, but you gain something from the experience. And a lot of my friends that are in martial arts don't compete because their ego isn't letting them do it. They're afraid they're going to lose, and they don't want to be embarrassed in front of their students or their coach. You can't look at it like that. I told the story many times. I've lost many times more than I've won, but I have to continue to compete for my benefit, for me to face my uncomfortableness and get out there and compete regardless of the outcome. It's very important for me, and you have to do it for yourself. So I just thought that was pretty cool, telling the story from another person's perspective. And this guy obviously went on to become super successful. So you're not always going to be successful in the beginning, guys. It could take a long time. He didn't win in the beginning. It took him a long time before he finally got to be efficient and successful and went on to become obviously a big star and a living legend. Mm-hmm. All right. Any breaking news, sir?
Yes, sir. You know how you always talk about hanging out with the wrong people and
Yeah.
how people can influence your decision-making process.
Yes.
Well, in this case, it applies to animals as well.
Okay.
There is a animal rescue. It says a Rhode Island animal rescue group is seeking a new home for a 20-year-old parrot
Aw.
because its vocabulary is politely described as rated R. All it does is cuss
That's funny.
and has a terrible, terrible language. Well, that parrot hung out with the wrong people.
Uh-oh.
You know, he shouldn't have been hanging
Gotcha.
with those people. But they're having a hard time placing him just because he cusses all the time.
Cusses all the time.
Yep.
Well, another example of bad influence, huh?
Yep. And then today is National World UFO Day.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
So, I don't know if we're supposed to celebrate that, but
A lot of
today is
controversy
National
surrounding
World
UFOs.
UFO
You know,
Day.
there's a lot of people that think it's real, and people think it's not real, and cover-ups, conspiracy, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I guess we'll all find out at the same time whenever something comes out that substantiates the evidence that is real or not real.
And then to kind of honor this week
Yeah,
being
July
coming
4th.
up July 4th, Independence Day.
In America, it's a lot
in America.
a lot of our subscribers are from other countries. so-
Uh-huh. It's National Patio Umbrella Day.
Ooh,
So I knew everyone was waiting for that
waiting
one.
for that one.
So
All right, guys. Well, I think we bored them enough, so we'll get out of
been
here.
exciting.
Any closing thoughts, sir?
no.
No.
I do want to apologize for the podcast having some technical difficulties and not keeping us on every week. Sorry about that, viewers, but we're back on track
We're
now.
back on track now.
Yep.
Not to use a pun. Okay, guys. Look, just remember, if you don't give up, eventually those stars are going to line up. We talk about it all the time, right? And the key is, just don't give up, man. Just stay the course regardless. Keep your head up. Keep your chin up. Stay positive. Don't ever give up. And I see so many people that's what they do. They give up. You never know. It's like your success is right around the corner. I even from my own life's experiences, I can tell you that just when I felt like throwing in the towel and I didn't, it's just maybe a few days later or a few months later, something really cool happened. And I was able to get back on track and get back to where I wanted to be and make things got a whole lot better. So, all right, guys, just remember, don't ever give up. And until that time comes, and even after that, always keep your head up and stay super positive.